Welcome back to a brand new video of From the Shed End. I hope you're doing well on this Tuesday afternoon. Now, before we get into today's video, please make sure you go and subscribe to the channel. We are not far off 400 subscribers, which is a big milestone for the channel. We're also approaching our 100th episode of the podcast, so there will be a competition that will be running very soon, giving away a couple of things, obviously Chelsea related. So make sure you tune in, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and all the social accounts so you do not miss that competition that will be announced very soon as well. But before we get into the match preview for tomorrow, I just want to look at some of the things that were thrown at Maurizio Pochettino in the press conference earlier on today. The key and obvious big one was around Eghbali going into the dressing room after the game, the defeat against Aston Villa on Sunday. Now, either I've got a case of amnesia, but I'm pretty sure Maurizio Pochettino, when he first took the job on, was dead against the owners or anyone within the board walking into the dressing room after a defeat or a win or any other time. I think he was very against that. He wanted to make sure that he was the one that addresses the team, addresses any sort of issues within the team and the performances. Now, Maurizio Pochettino was asked again today whether he had any concerns, any problems with Eghbali going into the dressing room after the game, addressing the players, and he's been a complete 360 because now he doesn't mind. He doesn't actually mind that the owners are coming in and dressing down the players. And that's a massive red flag already, if we're going to be honest, because I think that's one of the things that Graham Potter was willing to accept, was willing to allow to happen. And I think it shows a level of disrespect to Pochettino when the owners come in and do that. It's very authoritative in terms of, the hierarchical sort of structure of the club and who can come in and call the shots. And I think in terms of a dressing room, that should be a manager's domain. The manager should be able to command what happens in there, orchestrate what happens. If he wants to dress down the players in his way, then he should be allowed to do that. But it almost seems like that power has been taken away from Pochettino already when we're only 2 months into a season. Very, very alarming in terms of the control that the owners want to have over the manager, over the players, over the team. And if he's doing things like that in terms of going in and addressing the players, what else are they doing? Are they telling Pochettino to make sure that Conor Gallagher is captain? Are they telling Pochettino to make sure Levi Colwill is playing at left back rather than Ben Chilwell? It does raise those questions because, again, another question that was asked of Pochettino this afternoon was around Ben Chilwell not playing as much as he probably potentially would have liked to have started the season, and Levi Colwill stepping in and playing as a left back when he naturally should be playing centre back. And one of the things that obviously Pochettino tried to counteract with that was that he's happy with Colwill as a left back. He saw Chilwell more as a winger, which again struck me as a bit odd in terms of the fact that, Ben Chilwell clearly is a left back or a left wing back and has played that position predominantly while he's been at Chelsea. So it did kind of strike me as a bit of an odd response to the question in the press conference that he saw Ben Chilwell as a winger and he's happy with Colwill as a left back. Now, which we're going to get onto the team lineup for tomorrow. Hopefully we'll address some of those issues, but it does make me wonder how much control does Pochettino have with the squad and how is he allowing the owners to come in and overrule his area of the team, his expertise, is his day and his livelihood. He should be able to control the team as he wants. That's his job. Bit of a strange one for me personally, but he also did confirmed that Armando Broja will not start the game tomorrow. So that does raise a big question around Nicholas Jackson or Washington, who might get the nod ahead of Jackson. Now, Jackson will be available for the game because obviously he picked up 5 yellow cards, and that only means that he won't be suspended for tomorrow's game, but he will be suspended for the game on Monday against Fulham. Now, massive issue around Malo Gusto, who will be suspended due to the three matches that he'll miss. That does include the Carabao Cup game against Brighton at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. So, again, we're going to talk about the lineup shortly, but I just wanted to get those things off my chest because it does raise a couple of red flags in terms of the control that Maurizio Pochettino has. Clearly a manager under pressure at the moment from the fans, possibly from the owners. Some of the players are probably talking to him or talking about him in and amongst that dressing room as well. So there must be a lot of things going on, and a lot of it centres and circles around Maurizio Pochettino. But just in terms of the Carabao Cup, obviously we play Brighton tomorrow, a very upbeat, well-informed Brighton, who had a brilliant game in their European leg against Athens. And obviously they lost that, but then they go on to beat Bournemouth, which again, brilliant game as they came back to win that one 3-1. Dazzling Matoma looked amazing, but also, again, their third game in less than a week will be against us in the Carabao Cup tomorrow night at Stamford Bridge. Now, as I said, obviously Malo Gusto will not be in the lineup. He's been suspended for that game. So it does make me beg the question, who will come in now? We did see Disasi come in as a right back against Aston Villa with the change in role for him, not playing the centre back and moving over to right back. I think we're going to have to stick with that because we don't have any other option. Reece James is not fully fit. He's not back in training as of yet, so he won't be in the matchday squad for tomorrow. But in terms of the goalkeeper, which we'll start on, now the goalkeeper for me, now Robert Sanchez has been probably arguably our best player in the last 2 games. Now, does he deserve to be taken out the team? 100% he doesn't. But I do think we need to see Petrovic and what he can do. A goalkeeper that's coming with high expectations in terms of the fact that he's, a goalkeeper that we need to see what we can do with him. Can he challenge Sanchez for the number 1 jersey, for the number 1 spot? Potentially. And the only way we're going to find that out is if we put him in goal and we play him. So I would stick with, I'd go with Petrovic in goal and obviously stick with Sanchez, again, maybe in Fulham, if that is the case. But I think for the Carabao Cup, I think we should give Sanchez the rest. I think we need to analyse and assess what Petrovic can do for us and see what level of quality he brings to the team. But in terms of that right back position, as I said, Disasi has to take that spot for me. I don't think there's anyone else that's going to be able to do that. And I'm hoping, if you remember back to the Graham Potter days, I think we got to see Raheem Sterling play there at one point, Christian Pulisic, obviously Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So I'm hoping Pochettino doesn't switch it back to 3 centre-backs and then uses Raheem Sterling or maybe Madueke as a right wing-back. I don't want to see that against Brighton. I think that will be the worst thing we can do. I think we need to stick to the back 4. I think we need to continue with that. But we do have to... we're going to lose a lot of pace either side. I think, Chilwell, again, doesn't really get that much forward for me. I think he's more of a defensive player in terms of what his role is as a left-back. And Disasi, let's be honest, he's not the fastest centre-back in the world. So I think we're going to lose a lot of that pace down those wings. That is going to limit us in terms of our chances into the box, etc., etc. So it's a forced team selection for me in terms of Disasi. I'd like to see him at centre-back, but he have to play right-back now. Again, very limited in terms of centre-back options because of Disasi having to move to right-back. Trevor Chalobah, Badi Ishile, and also Wesley Fofana are still out. They're not fully fit to be returning back to the squad. So that only means one thing, which will be Thiago Silva and Levi Colwill as a centre-back partnership. Now, something that I think all Chelsea fans are dying to see, Levi Colwill playing as a natural centre-back rather than as a left-back. I think that's how Pochettino's going to have to set us up for tomorrow as a centre-back partnership. Now, obviously, Thiago Silva's come under a lot of scrutiny for a lot of good reasons. He does look very slow, old, 39 years of age. It will do that to you. So I think, we have to respect that, he's just of an age where he's not going to be the fastest centre-back. Luckily for Thiago Silva, he can read the game very well. He can still anticipate something happening before it happens. And I think that's what's keeping him in the team. He's very relaxed on the ball, sometimes too relaxed, as we got to see against Aston Villa. But we have to keep him in the team, keep that experience in the back line as well. And I think we're going to need that against Brighton, who, when we get onto their team, who I think how they're set up possibly going forward, we're going to need some sort of experience in that back line. So I'd go with Thiago Silva and Levi Colwill as the centre-backs. Now, Ben Chilwell, for me, has to come back into this team as the left-back, someone who's naturally a left-back, not a left-winger, Maurizio Pochettino. I would have to play Ben Chilwell as the left-back. The 2 in midfield, I've gone for Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, with a little asterisk next to his name because he didn't look very fit against Aston Villa on Sunday. So I think there needs to be an assessment of him. But if he's not fit, then Ugochukwu can come in and do a really good job. We got to see that when he came on against Villa as well. He can do that role just as well as, in my opinion, as Caicedo at the moment, from what we've got to see from Caicedo in the games that he's been able to play for us. So I think we need to contribute by having those two in the midfield, Enzo and Caicedo, should he be fully fit to play. Then I've gone for Raheem Sterling on the right of the attack with Cole Palmer as the 10. And I've kept Mudryk in the team, who I thought played really well against Aston Villa. Unfortunately, he should have had 2 assists from that game. And unfortunately, there wasn't bodies in the box, which is a massive concern for us at the moment because we get the ball into the right places. But you look up and there's only 2 players, maybe even 1 player in the box. So we have to address that, I think, in games like this against Brighton, where we can kind of experiment and try and get the best out of the players that we want to go on and try and push through in the Premier League as well. But I do think, playing Mykhailo Mudryk, Raheem Sterling on the right, and then Cole Palmer as the 10 in the middle, I think that will give us something else to think about. Now, it is going to be very harsh on Conor Gallagher. I can already hear people already talking to me about Conor Gallagher and how he doesn't deserve to be dropped. And I'll be honest, I agree with you. He should not be dropped from the squad, but when needs are musts, we have to think about the long-term picture. And look, Conor Gallagher will be a brilliant player. He is a brilliant player in terms of what he's been able to do so far in the league for us. But at the same time as well, we have to address certain things. We're not creating as many chances as we need to. We need someone who's creative on the ball. Cole Palmer, let's not forget, this is Cole Palmer that scores in finals at Wembley. He's done that for Man City. Pep Guardiola's trusted him in big competitions, especially in the Carabao Cup as well last season. So I think we need to give him a debut, give him a full run out, full 90 minutes, Cole Palmer. And if he does do well, then let's look at continuing that for Monday's game against Fulham as well. Now, I've left the best till last. Now, I can already hear Goonie, Man Knows Football, already screaming at the TV, screaming at his stream that he's probably going to be doing later on today or tomorrow. Nicholas Jackson should not be in the team. Goonie, I agree with you. But we have to keep Nicholas Jackson in the team. I think if we want to progress in this competition and if we want to see what Nicholas Jackson can do. Now, I'm not saying that he's not got faults in him at all because he's looking like a donkey that we've been missold right now. He doesn't look like a striker. He's poor in terms of his shot conversion in front of goal. He's just not doing the things that we need him to do. Now, with Maurizio Pochettino confirming that Armando Broja will be out of the team, he's not ready to start the game. He'll probably get 30, 40 minutes. Then, yeah, brilliantly. Let's bring him on. Let's bring him on at some point. But to start the game, I don't think Washington should start the game. I don't want to see Raheem Sterling as a false 9. I don't want to see anyone that is not technically an out-and-out striker, which we're sort of dubbing Nicholas Jackson to be at the moment. Yet to be confirmed, but we need to continue with Nicholas Jackson, give him the confidence that he possibly needs. And then we have to go from there. If it's not working, then at least we know we have another alternative, a plan B on the bench, B being Armando Broja on the bench that hopefully can come on, who didn't really get into the game against Aston Villa. I don't think he had the opportunity and the time, and he's been out for a long time. So I think we need to manage his minutes well in terms of what we want him to do for the rest of this season. But yeah, Nicholas Jackson has to start this game for me. There's no other option. Listen, I would rather someone else play there. I'd rather maybe, Broja, we risk him, but I don't think Pochettino's going to do that. So, unfortunately, Nicholas Jackson will start this game, in my opinion. I'd love to see him get a goal, maybe build up on that confidence that he's clearly lacking in the team at the moment, but we're going to have to stick with him in front of goal. We have to win this game. I mean, there's no ifs or buts. Take the Premier League aside for a second. This is a game that we have to win. The only time an opportunity this season we're going to get an opportunity to play European football next season is if we win if we win the Carabao Cup, which will put us into Europa. I think if we don't win this, there's going to be a lot of chaos at the end of the season because even the FA Cup will be difficult. You expect some of the bigger teams like City and maybe Liverpool to rotate their squads as they do in the Carabao Cup. We don't have that luxury this season. We shouldn't even need to do that. We're playing one game a week. So the team that should go out should be the strongest team that we've got in terms of the availability that we have to us for tomorrow's game. I think Pochettino really needs to try and win some silverware, if I'm being honest, this season. I think that the way that the Premier League's going in terms of that relegation form that we're clearly displaying at the moment, we have to go out and win a trophy. Now, the easiest one, as they always say, is the Carabao Cup, the Mickey Mouse Cup, the Coca-Cola Cup. We have to go and win that. We have to win that. There's no ifs or buts. We have to win that trophy. That trophy has to come back to Stamford Bridge. Now, if we don't do that, massive question marks. Massive question marks. Because we shouldn't be in a position where we're rotating our squad to the point where we're bringing on some of the players that haven't had many minutes this season. We've got to put out the strongest squad we've got and fight for the manager now. Fight for the club, fight for the badge. So all these players I've named in this 11, fight for the badge. Yeah, if you're not fighting for the badge, sit the game out. That would be my message if I was Pochettino. Sit the game out. And don't think you're playing on Monday. That's it. Simple as that for me personally. But we will see. We will see how we will line up. We will see how we perform. I'm sure you will all give your comments and thoughts in the comment section. So give me your predicted lineups. Give me your predicted scoreline. Myself personally, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win against Brighton. Haven't mentioned much about Brighton. I don't think I need to, but the thoughts of Ansu Fati, Matoma, Solly March, João Pedro, who I think will probably start the game ahead of Evan Ferguson, it is a case of a nightmare for us. If we get this wrong and we let a goal in early, it's going to be a long night for us. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. As I said at the start of this, we are 400, near enough to 400 subscribers. I think we're about 24 off it. So make sure, if you can, hit that subscribe button because it does help the channel. It makes the channel grow. More people see the videos. And also the Linktree link in the description as well. Make sure you hit that before you leave here. And you will go all to our podcast episodes. And as I said at the start, there's going to be a competition very, very soon. Giveaways for our 100th episode of the podcast. So make sure you follow the socials. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully a victory, kickstart the season, kickstart our campaign in the Carabao Cup on a high. Hopefully we go on to the next round. Thank you very much for watching the video.